Like she said, I'm rusty. I'm rusty, but I'm getting better. Get my joke right. I thought I could only use it 100 times, but in my family, you tell a joke until it's old, and then you tell it a few more times. So I try to not follow up that thing in my family to just keep telling the joke, but thank you for doing my joke for me so I didn't have to. So I'm one of the people who gets to serve around here. So HL is on to a great needed break, so our pillar of rest, right? So H is doing that. So I drew the straw. I won't tell you which one I drew. Oh, see? The other one gets more laughs, but these laughs were good on Thursday when I wrote it, so if they're not, I'm sorry. So this is totally different. See, the last 2 or 3 times I've spoken, there's been no one here. So no one laughed at my jokes anyway. But I just, in my mind, they were laughing online, all of you. Like every joke landed and they were perfect. So you have to pretend. So if I act like I tell a joke, what do you have to do? Wow, that's going to be what I get? That's the best I'm going to get? Oh, okay, it's going to be a long talk. So that means I'm taking my whole hour. That's a little better. So what I get to talk about is discipleship. So I looked this word up, and here's what it said. I'm not kidding. I just wrote this down. Now, I thought disciple was a noun, but I'm a math guy, so I just rolled with it. So we went a little further. So what is a disciple? It's an active adherent. The other definition was really long, but I liked it too. One who embraces and assists in spreading the teachings of another. Now, obviously, this one fit on the slide better, so I went with this one, right? And it's got the good AA, right? Like a good preacher has alliteration. So an active adherent. So when you hear disciple, right? A disciple is someone who's actively doing something, actively sharing, actively doing. So discipleship is getting you to be an active adherent, right? So that's what we're shooting for. In our case, it's a person who actively follows Jesus. That's who we're discipling after, right? So think, when Jesus called his disciples, he's literally calling them and saying, come follow me, right? Like we have all this in the Bible. We read all these, come follow me, come follow me, come follow me. And what they were doing was act like literally getting in the dust of the rabbi was the thought, right? So he's walking, they're right there. Everything that's going on. What's he doing? Why is he doing that? Why is he not doing that? Who's he talking to? Why is he talking to that person? What's going on? Like, why is he doing that? So which one is he going to focus on? What's he do at parties? What parties does he go to? Like everything, that's what a disciple was doing. Disciple was just in his business all the time. All the time. Now, what's it like for us to be an active adherent? What's it like for us to do that? So that's what I'm going to talk about, right? So how do we just get in the dust of the rabbi? How do we get in the dust of Jesus? We've been talking for the last few weeks about how great Jesus is, right? And how he loves us and how we're made in the image of God, all those things. So I hope you bought into this, right? So step one, we're going to talk about later, is being a disciple. So wanting to be a disciple, so wanting to get in the dust of this rabbi, in the dust of what Jesus is doing. So that's what I'm going to talk about, is how to do that. Now, this is something in churches all the time. Like every church has a discipleship program, right? If you walk into church, there's a discipleship program, right? What's the discipleship program? What's the next step? What do we do, right? It's all about what's the next step? How do we get you to go closer to God, right? Closer to Jesus, closer to what's going on, right? In most cases, it's a 101, 201, 301 class, right? So, hey, you come up, hey, welcome to the church. We'll get you involved in class 101. That way you'll know what you're doing, right? And then when you graduate from that, you go to 201. Then you'll know a little bit more. And when you graduate from that, 301, right? So there's this whole group of classes so we can give you more info so that you'll know more about what it takes to be there. Now, from a leadership perspective and my logical math brain, right, this makes total sense, right? New person, step 1, step 2, step 3. It's easy, it's controlled, right? I know what I can do with this person. I know where they are. I know what they've graduated from. I know what they're supposed to know, right? Easy peasy, right? Now, in a lot of churches I've been in, you get to go to 101 no matter where you are. You just start, hey, I'm new to the church. Great, let's do you in 101. Well, I'm not really there. Like, I've done all this stuff. That's okay, great. Let's get you in 101 because we have to get you in the right spot, right? To get in the right spot, we have to know. So it's easy for it's same for everybody. It's easy to track. Just plug people in. Like, it totally makes sense to me, right? And when you come to me and say, I'm new, what can I do? I can plug you in right away. I can get you going in the things I need you to get in. And I've got you. I know where you are. So then we read this verse. But the Holy Spirit produces this kind of fruit in our lives: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Now, I can use a lot of verses to talk about what the Christian life looks like, right? So we just read through Philippians. There's a great passage in there that talks about what it looks like. We've been studying the Sermon on the Mount. Great talk about what it looks like. Again, this fits on the slide, and I'm talking, so I get to do this one. So if you come to me and say, I want to get plugged in, my discipleship program works, right? Because I can tell you where you are and what you've done, and I can get you plugged into things. Have you done this training? Yes, let's do this. I can do this, right? But what if you come to me and say, how do I do more like this? It's a little harder, right? A lot of the questions we talked about with the Sermon on the Mount were, well, how do I get more like that? Like, how can I get to be that kind of peacemaker? Take 101? Like, it just doesn't sound right? It just doesn't sound smooth. Now, I love those classes, and we do stuff here, so it's not that, right? But I think there's more. I think there's more to it. There's more than, like, the disciples didn't follow Jesus with a notebook and figure out what he said and what he meant when he said this word and which ones were the most important. Like, they didn't follow him with a notebook. Like, there was so much more to it. So since we're following Jesus, let's see how Jesus did it. So I still have to have logic. I still have to have my brain, right? Now, you can break down what Jesus did a million different ways, right? But this is the way it fits my brain. So he taught them. So we see the Sermon on the Mount. We see Jesus explaining parables to his disciples. There are times of Jesus asking them questions. Who do you say I am? So he taught them. Like, over and over you see him teaching. Then he modeled what he taught. He showed kindness to those that society didn't. He had compassion on the crowds. That's literally the words it uses. He had compassion on the crowds and started healing them. Right? So he physically modeled compassion. He healed them. He fed them. He forgave a lot. Remember that whole thing with Peter? Go feed my sheep, go feed my sheep. So Peter denied him. There's this whole great passage of Jesus forgiving him. So he taught them what they needed to know. Then he modeled what it was supposed to look like. Then he sent them to do them on their own. Now this is real important. There's a couple of passages. Luke 10, he sent out 72 disciples, sent them out, said, hey, here's some instructions. Go do what I've been doing. And at the end of that passage, it comes back, and it's really cool. It says, Luke 10:17, when the 72 disciples returned, they joyfully reported, Lord, even the demons obey us when we use your name. He told them, yes, I saw Satan fall fall from heaven like lightning. So they went out, they did what they were supposed to do. They did what he taught them and what they modeled, like what they saw. They went out and did it, and they had a great thing, right? A few chapters later, a few stories later, the guy brings his son and says, my son has a demon, and your disciples couldn't do anything about it. So, of course, Jesus heals him. Then his disciples say, hey, Jesus, so what happened? We didn't have enough faith. Right? There's this time, and I know this happened a lot more because he was with them all the time, but we have these two great instances of, you did a great job. I saw Satan, like you're killing it. Hey, you don't have enough faith. And it's the same group of people. And then repeat, rinse and repeat, right? So Jesus did these things over and over and over again. You see, the goal was for the disciples to do it on their own. So Jesus knew, right? He was here for 3.5 years or so with them. So some period of that he was with all of them. So he knew the goal was that he was leaving and they had to do it on their own, right? So he's doing this like, here's what's happening, here's what's going on. Here, watch me do it. Here's why I'm doing it. Now go do it. Okay, great. You're doing great. You're doing great. Let's fix these things that we need to fix. Now, let's do it all again. Because he knew the disciples were going to have to do it on their own. I tell you the truth, anyone who believes in me will do the same works that I have done and even greater works because I'm going to be with the Father. So in John 14:15, he sits down with them, right? He's at the Last Supper, and he's doing all these things, and he's telling them all these things, and this is right in the middle of it. Like, I'm going to be with the Father. But you can do these things. You can keep doing these things that we've been doing. Keep doing it. And I'm sure he pointed back to and said, look, you've been doing them. Let's just keep doing these things. And then the big send, right? Matthew 28. Comes back after the resurrection. He's getting ready to go away, and he says, I've been given all authority in heaven and earth. Therefore, go and make disciples of all the nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Teach these new disciples to obey all the commands I've given you, and be sure of this, I am with you always, even to the end of the age. The goal is for them to do it, but not alone. In the John passage and in this passage, he talks about the Holy Spirit. So I'm going away, like Jesus, physically, I'm going away, but I'm not leaving you alone. You're not doing this on your own. And then Acts happens, and all that fun stuff happens in Acts 2. The Holy Spirit shows up, and they go start doing these things, right? And it has to be just a pullback reminder of like, Jesus did all these things, and he told us we could do it, and now we are. So what does that mean for us, right? So if we're modeling after that, what does that mean for us? How are we going to do it? How do we do it at Daylight? So the same way? Does that make sense? Teach, model, send, debrief, repeat. Hopefully you've seen this slide about 1 million times, right? Does everybody know the 4 pillars without looking? Service, study, worship, rest. Right. Now, we really believe in these 4 things. And if you've heard H talk about it, he's talked about it ad nauseum, right? We've talked about it in here. We talk about it in our groups. We point things back. Like even him being gone this week it's the pillar of rest, right? Like that's an example of what we do. So let's run these 4 things. And so we believe in these things, right? So we think if you do these 4 things, you're going to grow closer, right? So let's talk about how we do these things. So let's just use service as an example, right? So how do we teach service? Right? We have sermons about it. Sermon on the Mount has lots of stuff in it. We do it in small groups. We talk about service. We talk about how to serve. How do we model it? Food truck, right? We go once a month and do the food truck. Like it's an amazing time, right? Amazing time. We're modeling it. How else do we model it? Youth, what are we doing next week? Easter egg hunt. So the youth are putting on an Easter egg hunt for the kids. And we had a great conversation last week about like how cool that is that we get to serve the kids. It's more than just Easter egg hunt, right? It's an opportunity for our youth to serve. How else do we serve? Money. That's a great way, right? So there's all these things that we do. So as a church, we're leading you and saying, we're giving you opportunities to serve. Here's an opportunity for you to serve. Here's what serving looks like. If you don't know what it is, great. Come try it out. Here's what it looks like. 4 times a year, we do a quarterly service event. That's just for everybody. Just come and join. We've got it laid out. We're good to go. All you have to do is show up, right? We've got the food truck going on. These are church programs, right, that we do. So we model it. Then we send you to go do it on your own, right? So what's the goal? To do it on your own, right? So what we do as a church is we're going to teach you how to do it. We're going to give you all the things you need. And then we want you to go serve on your own, which means you get to look around and see what's going on in your neighborhood. Like, we're going to give you 4 big times a year. Like, come do it. That'd be great. But what's going on in your neighborhood? What's going on in your circle of friends? See, that's the goal. It's not to get you to come to our service events, which we want you to come to them, right? But that's not the goal. The goal is to you come and see, this is what it's like to serve somebody, so go do those things on your own. Look at the people around you who need it. Come up with new ideas, right? Like that's the old idea. Then you come back and you tell somebody, you debrief about it. So we have small groups that go on year-round, which they start next week. I'm replugging those, right, again. They start next week. Part of the point of that is to get together and hang out and do cool stuff. But part of it is also to debrief and say, hey, I did this great service event. Like, this was really cool. I helped my neighbor, and I found out they need more help. Is there any way you guys can help? Or do you know anybody who can help with this, right? So you're debriefing in that group. And then go and do it again. So you can do this with all four, right? So study, small groups, individual classes that we do, right? We have no questions off the tables on our wall. Like, we want the questions all the time. We have cool events that came up. My first week at Daylight was the demonologist. Remember that when he came? Right, that was my first week, right? Hooked. I'm in. Let's go, right? So that's just because, like, that was crazy, right? So, but let's ask the question. Let's talk about it. So we're going to do these events where we're going to teach you stuff. We're going to teach classes on X. We want you to do it. But what's the goal? Do it on your own. So what are you studying? I want to teach you how to study so that you can study. Does that make sense? I want to get you interested in things. I want to throw the demonology thing out there and go, oh, that's crazy. I don't know if I believe that. Great. Go look at it. Maybe you do. Have a group of people in here that you maybe not agree with. Have a talk come in and it's like, hey, I don't know about that. That's great. Go study. No questions off the table. That's the whole point. I want you to do it. I don't want me to have to give you everything. I want to teach you how to do it, and I want you to go do it. And then come back to small group or come back with your group of friends and say, hey, this is what Rusty talked about this stuff on Sunday, and it really bothered me, and I wanted to read about it again. And this is what I read. And I agree with him on this, but not on this. And so the whole group talked about it and go, well, I don't know, maybe you're a little off center, or maybe, hey, I hadn't thought about it that way, right? Like, it's about you doing it on your own, coming back and talking about it, and then go doing it again. So we brought those ideas together. People agreed with some, didn't agree with some. Go do some more research and go back and do some more research. Like, it's this loop, right? But it's about studying. Worship. How do we worship? Right? Paul's music is a great example of it, right? We have Nightlight quarterly and something cool coming up. We're going to have it monthly with a specific goal, and this is part of where this is coming from, right? Specific goal to teach you how to worship. It's not just about music, right? It's about praying, it's about prayer, it's about all these other kind of things that go on. It's about physical expression, like what do you do, right? So we're going to have these night lights, and not always live music, but music and other things going on to teach you how to worship. What does it mean when I raise my hands? What does it mean when I reach out with my hands? What does it mean to physically be on your knees? What does that mean? That's like, there's more to it than just people do it. Why do people do it? Right? I just raised my hands because everybody else in the room had raised my hands. I didn't raise my hands because no one in the room is raising their hands. Does that mean raising my hands is wrong? So that's what this worship time is supposed to be. It's supposed to teach you how to, so that you can worship on your own, right? What does your daily worship time look like? What kind of music do you play? How do you spend your time with God, right? So the idea is, I'm going to teach you ways to do it, and you may end up doing something totally different. There was one small group we were in, we did a worship quiz, right? So what's your worship type? Because there's a type for everything, right? But one of the things was going outside and hanging out in the forest, right? Well, that's not obviously something we can do on Sunday morning. We can't all go hang out in the forest together. Well, I guess we could. That would be kind of cool. But that's okay for you to do, right? That's part of your daily worship time, or that's part of your monthly worship time. That's time that you're spending with God. Come back and tell people about it. Hey, this is what I did. This is what I did this week, and this was great. This really helped me connect with God. Because you did it, and somebody else may enjoy that same thing, and they've never known about it. I didn't know I could just go walk the trails and commune with God. Permission granted. Go do it, right? And our last one, rest. How do we model rest? Like we give each week off. I'm sorry you had to hear this. But this is because we're doing our pillar of rest, right? We're giving him his time off, especially with Easter coming up and all this crazy stuff, right? We rotate our kid, like the youth, one of the things we do as a service for youth too, is we handle the fifth Sunday for kids. We handle that, right? Why? Give Becky a break. She does your kids every week, right? Let's do rest. We try not to have people do all this stuff all the time. Here's the other thing about rest. And this may sound weird coming from a leader or from the stage, but you don't have to come to everything. Right? We've never said, we're doing this event, everybody come. You have to be there to check the box, right? But you've heard that before, right? Well, I didn't see you at prayer service. Was there something wrong? Do we need to pray for you? We prayed for you at prayer service because you weren't at prayer service, right? Like you've heard that. Like you've heard some version of that before, right? If you're doing all of these things, you don't have to come to everything. If your life's been crazy, let us pray for you and take that rest. Like that pillar's there for a reason. But the same thing. Come back and talk about it. Hey, man, I took a week off. I didn't come to church, and I did this worship thing, and man, I am rested. This is amazing, right? I don't just take the week off and do nothing because you can, because Rusty said I didn't have to come, right? But it's teaching you how to rest. What does rest look like for you? Rest for you looks totally different than for me. Like just with H and I, he's an introvert, I'm an extrovert. So rest for me is getting as many people together and having a good time as I can, right? For H is like, Sunday is over, I am leaving this place and never talking to anybody else for the rest of the day. And he does that, right? But that's what it looks like. Rest for him is different than rest for me. And rest for you is different than rest for us. The goal is for you to do it on your own. Right? Does that make sense if I said it enough? I'm going to say it again, probably 4 or 5 more times. But the goal is for you to do it on your own. I want to teach you how to do it. We want to teach you how to do it so that it's just part of your daily routine. How do I worship? How do I serve? How do I rest? How do I study? Which is my favorite one, so I don't know why I missed that one. Right? Now, here's the other thing. I'm going to say this. I want you to do it on your own. I also want you to do it not alone. Right? But that doesn't mean everything's going to come through the church. Right? So you come to me with a great idea. That's great. Like, how can we help you do it? Not everything's going to be a church program. Does that make sense? Right? Because we don't have, we've got 50 people right now that come. And if I did 15 things all month, and expect everyone to come, they're not going to come, but to a handful of them. Then you're going to have 2 people here and there, right? I want to, that's what your small group is for, a big plug for your small groups. I want you to bring those ideas to us, because maybe it is, hey, I had this great idea for a speaker, right? And we can have that speaker. And some of the ideas are hey, I've got some people I need to serve around me. And it's not a church thing. It's just something I want to do. I'm giving you permission to serve people. I'm giving you permission to worship on your own. I'm giving you permission to study. I'm giving you permission to rest. And when you find those great things, bring them to us. Because we have great music. We have the soundtracks that we do. That's music that shows up on the soundtrack. Hey, I heard this great worship song. I want you to hear it. We also have a list of podcasts and books and things that are great that we like to listen to, right, to read. Bring those things if you've read a great one, because that's something we can put on there. And it doesn't matter because no question's off the table. It doesn't have to agree with it, right? The idea is that we read this, ask the question, and talk about it, right? I'm teaching you to think is the whole idea. Now, going back to the 101, 201, 301 class, right? That's easy. It makes sense. It's logical. What does this look like? It's a mess, right? I can't tell you where you are in your growth. I can't tell you what's going on, right? There's no certificate that you reach the next step. This is messy, right? So I'm giving you freedom to go do what you want to do and come back and talk about it so we can grow together, so you can bring it back and grow together. I'm giving you that permission so that we can grow. But it's not easy to measure. It messes with my logical brain, right? But if we go back and compare it to this again, right? But the Holy Spirit produces this kind of fruit in our lives: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness. Goodness again. It's supposed to be gentleness and self-control. So you are going to show up, these things are going to show up as you do these things, right? So as you worship, study, and rest, and serve, you're going to do these things, right? When you serve someone, when you're handing out food downtown, it's going to make you more kind, right? When you're worshiping, you're going to get more joy. The better you get at worshiping, the more joy you're going to have because you're connecting with God, right? When you study, there's going to be more love, there's going to be more peace, there's going to be more self-control, right? Like these are all intertwined with each other. So as you do these things, you're going to grow, right? And then part of the idea of bringing them back to your group, and it doesn't have to be an official small group, right? But what people are in your lives that you're bringing this back to. Part of the joy of bringing it back to those people is that they can see how you're growing. And you're challenging other people in your group to grow. And you're giving them new tools to grow. And you come back with an idea and your group goes, not so much. That's good, right? Like, this totally isn't you. You want to go out and throw a party for people and you're an introvert. Like, probably not a good idea, right? Let's do something else, right? That group is supposed to help mold you and grow you, right? So that you look more like this. And if you're doing group right, if you're doing relationship right, somebody should be able to look at you and say, that wasn't very kind. Here's our goals. Here's where we're going. You're not living up to this one. What's going on? How can I pray for you? How can I help you? What can we do together to fix this, right? And that should be open to everyone. Like we should all be doing that for each other, right? But that small group, that group that you're with all the time, they can notice when you're being more gentle. And they can ask, why? Why? Like you being really gentle, what's changed? You have a lot of joy right now. Or, hey, your joy's been lacking. Like, what's going on? Like, that's what that group is for. So we're supposed to do it alone. We're supposed to do it together. The goal is for you to do it on your own, but not alone, right? That's what that group is for. Does that make sense? Like, have I touted community groups enough? Like, that they start next week, and like, this is what this group is for? And it doesn't have to be a church one. Let's get together, like, get your group of people together and let's talk about it, right? That's what this group of people is for. So you don't have to do it on your own. All right, good action steps at the end, right? So first of all is become a disciple, right? We've been talking about Jesus like all the time, right? Please, I hope we've sold you on him, right? I hope we've sold you on Jesus is the answer, right? And spoiler alert, Sunday is going to be another big reason to, right? Just saying, right? Maybe something's coming up on Sunday. So if you think he's the answer and you believe that, then let's get closer, right? So I know that sounds like a weird thing to start with, but like you need to be a disciple first. So do things with us. So come try on an event. I've never served before. Great. We've got 4 things that we do. We have one a quarter, and then we have the food truck. Like just come. Let's just come show up. Or come clean something. Or come help. We have all kinds of things that we can do, right? We need help with the kids all the time. We always need help with the kids, right? Let's give her another week off. That would be amazing, right? There's always things you can do. So come do stuff with us. Then find your things. Now, sometimes your things and our things are overlap, and that's great. But I want you to find your things. I want you to find the things that help you grow, things that make you more gentle, that make you more loving, that make you more helpful, that make you more peacemaker. Debriefing community. And then rinse and repeat. This is the goal, that we all look more like this. We're not going to do it on our own, alone in a box. We're not going to do it if we're not an active adherent. It's not going to just happen to us. Like there's action to it. And it's messy and it's crazy, and I love it. So that's our fancy word, discipleship. That's how we're going to do it around here. And I'm out of notes. So that must be the end. Isn't it a perfect ending, right? So go and do likewise.